White Walker perpetuated offenses are considered especially heinous. In Westeros, 4 dedicated friends investigate and discuss these vicious episodes as members of an elite squad known as A Podcast Has No Name.
Oh my gosh. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of A Podcast Has No Name. We are live in Rose City Comics.
Woo! Yes, here in the scenic Mississippi, old Mississippi shopping district of North Portland.
That's right.
I think it's pronounced Ole.
Ole
Mississippi? Yeah.
Right.
Comics for the people. Ole Mississippi.
Old Mississippi.
Yeah.
The old Mississippi.
The old
Thank
Mississippi.
you. He snarled. He
The old
snarled a bit there. Thank you. Appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Mississippi.
Yeah, man. This is my home comic shop.
I love it.
It's a stone's throw from the house. It's a nice little 5-minute walk. I love it.
Noted.
Yeah.
He says with great menace in his voice.
Yeah. And I've been coming here since moved here in 2016. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. So shout out to them for hosting us. It's been great. Okay, so returning to the pod. Megan, what's good?
All the things.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
What did we talk about last time? I don't even remember.
Conjuring.
The Conjuring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Topical.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a type.
This is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's good.
And friend of another show, but first time to the pod. But, local publisher,
Same.
celebrity.
Celeb.
You guys should have seen it earlier. Just people. Jack Rudo, how are you, sir?
Oh, I am doing good. I'm here in Rose City, which is actually one of the first shop that ever carried my zine, Stapled Spine, here in Portland. Actually, back when it was called the Sinister Press, when I was doing, for 3 issues, it was a horror monster movie pro wrestling zine.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you have any copies of that around?
I do, and you don't.
Wow.
That was back
Shots
when it was
fired,
Bridge
friends.
City Comics.
Shots fired.
Mike Ring took a chance on it, and Donna's been fantastic since it switched over to Rose City, and we've been here. And my home shop, my LCS is technically Comics Cave, Doug's shop up in Kenton, but all the comic shops here in Portland are fantastic at covering and carrying independent publishing rags like myself.
100%. Yeah. And my local is Cosmic Monkey.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I know. Another
So
great
glad
one.
it's not my local comic shop. I would be destitute.
It's
rough.
rough.
It's terrible in
There's
there.
case study.
It's
I
terrible.
can
They
get
have-
coffee and comics. I'm like,
Yeah, and they have appropriately priced action figures. So that's the
Right.
issue for
yes.
me.
Yeah,
Like,
Sorry,
yeah,
friends.
that's
Thanks for
what are you
being
doing?
cost conscious.
Yeah, I'm getting an Apocalypse for $25. There's
Yeah.
no way that should be happening.
Yeah.
We're at 45.
that might as well be free.
Right, it might as well be free. If we're at 45, I'd
At
leave
that
it where it
price,
is.
how can I not buy it?
He's basically putting it in your pocket
Exactly.
Yeah.
for
So
an
I-
exchange of money.
I
Yes.
can't remember how I came across Stapled Spine. I cannot remember. Seeing it in here, maybe someone here at the time told me about this being a local publisher, and I feel like I was engaging with the book before we started engaging on the air.
Well, I know what happened was that when I'm also a DJ on X-Ray FM and X-Ray. And radio is yours. Hey,
We are in the middle of our fun drive.
it's DJ Jack Rudo. You're listening to Stapled Sounds on. You're the Stapled Hounds of the stupid DJ voice. X-Ray FM 107.1 91.7. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways,
he has this radio shit down, bro.
So what I'd do is, because I was in there and I knew there were creatives that were hanging out there, they're in the neighborhood at the Falcon Arts building where our studios are at, I would bring in, if I had a new issue, I'd bring it in there and just take a Sharpie or a highlighter and write really big on it, X-Ray across the front, like it was, like you rip off the cover and that's an industry issue.
Right.
So I'd leave them there. And then we did start talking, and you're like, oh, snap, I see this at my local LCS. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, Donna carries them there. So, and I stopped bringing them in because I realized people stopped buying them here because they can get them for free at X-Ray. So I took them.
That's sucky.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I was like, what's happening?
I'm happy at how upset you got about it. That was fantastic.
Pay for crap. I don't play those games. You buy shit. Yeah, no.
Do you feel like you see other zines around? Like, are there other folks?
Portland is fantastic. I actually
Yeah.
lucked out earlier this month, or was it it was a couple weeks ago, and I was invited to go and table at the Reed College had a zine fest.
Oh, sick.
Nice.
And that is so outside of my regular group of mouth-breathing
Not a
monster hound
Yeah,
morons.
yeah.
It was fantastic
Educated
because
morons, yeah.
yes, exactly. To get educated on a stack of paper cuts that is my zine. Tons of youth, and it is with the horror
Good.
scene in Portland, and tons of youth. It's not just all uptight honkies. There's people of all persuasions. The horror community in Portland is very gender fluid, very
Nice.
minority focused. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it so much. But I've been doing it so much that now, I'm 47, I forget, 47, 48. I feel like grandpa at some of these, and I love it. I'm like, God, yeah.
cool.
Anytime a kid would come up and have like a weird, tiny little one-page zine, like, do you do trades? The answer to that question, anyone that wants to know about zines, the answer is always yes.
Nice.
No matter how much energy and how like decked out your team of people that do your zine with you, if a kid comes up to you and they have a little zine they made and they want to trade, the answer is always yes.
That
And
is
I
awesome.
enthusiastically trade with them all the time. And there's something about that. It's exact because I started in '94, my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And I legit refused to learn how to do it better, air quotes. I will take 5 pieces of paper, turn them sideways, fold them in half, and glue stuff on it until there's no more room, and that means the zine's done.
Damn.
It's called collage.
and-
Also, shout out to class of 94.
For real? Yo, 94 out the
I know,
door.
I
Remember
know.
the t-shirts we had
I
on?
know I
Come
look much
on
younger,
now.
but
Whoa.
So I'm not
man.
94. It's fine. I'm 99. It's okay. It's all right. It was close.
So, yes, Portland has a
Yeah.
very vibrant, I think hashtag Portland Zine is
Yep.
a decent hashtag
Yep.
that's on there. It's a lot of per zine. I mean, it's like personal zines, journal type stuff. I got a great zine someone traded me. It was the characters of the Riverdale television and the
Oh, wow.
perfumes they wear.
Oh,
So they just took the time to
So specific.
Right?
well, it's all hypothetical, and they're saying they're positing because of this, that, and this. Reggie wears this.
Gotcha.
Jughead wears that.
Got you.
It's very in depth.
Nice.
But the scene in Portland has been, at least I moved here in 2000 from Las Vegas, and I was doing a terrible rockabilly Mexican lucha libre zine down there.
I
Sounds
want copies
fantastic.
Of this. Like, what are
I'm
you
like,
talking
I-
about?
That one was called
You-
Polar Bear Vixen because at the time in the 90s,
Sounds so
everything
good.
was sugar popping, greasy, fireball
Yeah,
daddy,
very
this and
true.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I picked
Fireball
I picked 3 different words that meant nothing to anybody. I made that. I think it was Polar Bear Vixen, and like our subscriber
love
group
this.
were the Tundra Assassins Guild. I always come up with dumb names for stuff.
No, this is
and,
awesome.
and so that was
Where
Tag,
is a
Tundra
jacket
Assassins
with the
Guild.
Tundra
on.
Assassins Guild.
Anyways, blah blah
We're
blah.
bringing this
I need
back.
a logo and T-shirt for that. What are we talking
Oh
about?
gosh. So, but the point is, it's a bug for me to to do the zine. It's something that's always in me. I do get an itch for it. But doing a horror zine year round, it's always like, literally like the show that I had at X-Ray. It was like I think November 4th, the first November show I had. I realized halfway through as I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, I'm playing this is like a breakup mixtape. Like
wow.
Halloween broke up with me. I've been dumped. And that was the name of that episode. I think was Dumped by October. And I didn't realize it until I was playing. I was like, "This is a sad hour of music. This is dumb."
Wow.
So I was completely bottomed out, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even have it in me." And it was the Frankenstein comic swap that we have at the mall that got me back into it. Got me enthused to want to. Oh, I gotta shake the dust off. And plus, I have like probably about 8 people, guys and gals from all over the state.
Okay.
That are my contributors that do
Sick.
write, have their own pieces and stuff like
Nice.
that. And then they start to get antsy too because it's fun to have a zine out and
Yeah.
all the stuff going on. So I shook the dust off and did a small one for March. And then as I looked at it, we did something finally finished today. The next issue, number 23 of Stapled Spine. And it was supposed to be 5 sheets of paper because I can keep costs down and make it easy. And by the time I'm
Right.
done with everything, it's 10 sheets of paper. It's twice as big. And I'm like, dang it, I can't stop. So, but it's awesome because we have, I got in touch with an Italian illustrator, Vincenzo Carrettu, who
Oh,
is
nice.
doing the all the pencils for the this summer. Marvel's doing a big crossover, a Blade-focused crossover called Blood Hunt.
Right.
And he's doing the Dracula book. And so I got an interview with him. And I also scored an interview with Jamie L. Rotante. I think she is the head senior editor of all of Archie Comics, including the full Archie Horror, which is an amazing line and has been for almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, but that's how the zine works, is that in this modern day and age, if you write to someone cold and say, hey, I do a zine, can I do an email interview with you? They're like, what do you mean, like for a podcast or like a YouTube video? Like, no, I'm going to take what you say. We're going to do it emails. I put it in a Google Doc and I print it out and cut it up and I glue it to paper. And then I photocopy it at a Kinko's, which is actually a UPS store now. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, very. And they're like, okay, so they're in. And that's how that goes, is to be that. I mean, that's my other joke too. My fiance Harper, I tell her, I was like, I'm so excited. Like 2020, what is it? 2024 is 2024 again. And here in Horror Oregon, it's like, man, I'm riding the cusp. It's the new age. I've got an FM radio show and a paper zine. I'm way on the edge, man.
Yes.
I love that.
Wow. The whole Oregon shirts, I love those. Very, yes.
They're epic. They're so
Yes,
good.
I squeed when I saw a picture. Ambush post one and he's wearing the shirt, and I was like, "Ee!" It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with what he was posting about. But I was still like, yay!
Appropriate response.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shirts because first off, like you pick the right cotton blend or whatever, it just feels good.
Yeah.
And also, like, I know most of the times I'm in a room with people, no one else has a shirt on.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
Until I buy one. And then we're matching all the time. I'll be like, Morgan, what is he wearing? Is he wearing
You just
this
have a
shirt?
box of shirts in the car. You got to run back out.
Yeah, I would.
So like, you covered so much.
Sorry, I hate talking.
No, it's. But
You're doing great. You're doing great.
ultimately,
buddy.
like, what got you into making zines in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question.
All of this stuff. I was also a founding clergy member of Portland's wrestling church, where every Sunday we would show. I was a founding member of Portland Organic Wrestling back in 2000. It was all bartenders and band members that would go at the old Satiric on stage, and we'd wrestle on the stage and like throw cow tongues and chicken feathers and stuff everywhere, and we'd bring in goats, and it was a wrestling match for people who didn't know how to wrestle, but we're all people on stage. It's a very vibrant history.
As a Portland native, I remember
Yes,
this.
I was a
Holy
founding member
smokes.
as Rose City Rudo was my character. I was a masked wrestler. I was two characters. The Rose City Rudo, the head of Los Diablos Guapos, the Handsome Devils. And we all had to wear masks because if we didn't, the women would riot and destroy their men they came with. And the other character I dressed up as was the opposite. It was a character where all you saw was my face, and it was a handmade bright pink, and think of the Christmas Story. It was a full size bright pink rabbit suit that I wore.
Oh wow!
And I wrestled as Jack Rabbit, and my finishing move was the Watership Down. Anyways, back to your question, Ambush.
Are you sure you're not originally from Portland? I'm so
crying now.
confused.
I know I grew up in Redding, California, where all there is sun, rocks, and lizards doing push-ups on those rocks because it's so hot.
Sweaty was that
It's-
fucking bunny suit, though.
That's
Well,
what my
the
next
bunny
question.
suit was you're so already covered in beer and sweat
I
and
guess-
entrails
yeah.
and
Entrails,
you know,
don't
and
forget.
it was the 2000s, so in Portland
didn't
there were
feel
no
back
drugs
then.
anywhere around,
Right.
so
No,
it was
a
okay.
clean town.
Yeah, it was a sober. So we
Clean
were
town.
all
So
all
very
nailed to
clean
the
town.
X.
It was basically like Monmouth and like Utah. Yeah.
We got Lloyd Kaufman of Troma Productions paid for us to fly down, and we did his. We were there for a weekend for Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah.
Nice.
And we were also paid because in costume to dance at the opening for Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green's Party Monster.
Yep. God bless him.
So we did, and a side book while we were there, we wrestled a troupe of drag queens at in Salt Lake City's biggest drag club, and everyone else's their partners were cool. My partner that I wrestled with was not cool because I thought it'd be fun to dress up as Brigham Young and decry the evils of their life choices. And I wrestled that man, and he was sinewy and built and a god in a kiddie pool filled with applesauce, and I thought I was going to die.
Wow.
But back to your question, Ambush, is I've always, if there's something that my mind can think, man, I wish there was that, and there isn't, I go, well, I'll do it.
Holy
I
smokes.
love that.
And that can
I
be
love that.
tiring to live with someone like that who is either completely
Bless
bottomed
you.
out and has no creativity, or is like, oh my God, I can't go to bed because I just thought the best way to get people to spend money on my show for the fund drive is I'll make up a dumb activity book that's based on my show and the people that so yeah, if it's not already existing, I will find a way to make it and I'll do it. And
love that,
Portland
though.
is a city that if you have an enthusiasm, if you're loud enough and plant your flag deep enough in the ground,
Right.
people will find you. Your people will find you.
Right.
Wow. Absolutely
And there's always those
amazing.
people out there. Like Portland has a super like rich history with zines, because when I was in high school we would all do zines, and like every battle of the bands, whatever, like we would just, I could take a photo, I could print it, I could photocopy it, right? You do all this stuff and it's super DIY, and I
Yeah.
feel like it maybe it fell off of my
And
trajectory
that's like
for a
X-Ray
while.
Cafe and stuff back then was
Yeah.
all super big.
Yeah, but I'm
So-
glad that it's back because it's super cool. And I think there's so many kids. We do a lot of, right now is like the season for youth comic workshops, and like so many kids have brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can print that and ask your mom or dad to copy it
Yeah.
at their work copier that probably hasn't been used in 6 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
like use it.
Right.
And then they're like,
Absolutely.
and now
That
you have your own.
technology
And
is
they're like,
sitting there.
really? Yeah.
And I did also another great one that I table at is PSU,
Okay.
yeah.
Portland State, or Portland University of Portland.
Probably Portland State.
PSU downtown, they have a great zine fest.
Yeah.
And last year I did it, and I was next to two brothers. They draw a comic book called Turtle Boy. And it's an 11-year-old brother and his 9-year-old younger brother.
Come on.
One writes, one draws, and they're sitting next to me.
What?
And the whole time it was fantastic. And their dad asked me, "Hey, how do you get it in shops and stuff like that?" And I'm like, "You go in there with your kids and you take their comics and say, hey," and don't go to a TFA. No shade on TFA, but if you're in Portland and you go to TFA, that's like buying comics at Target. Don't go there. Go to some place. I'm serious. Go to Rose City. Go to Comic
Go to,
Cave. Go to Excalibur.
actual,
Go
like,
to,
local-
go to
yeah.
Cosmic
Yeah.
Monkey. There's a lot of great places to go. But literally, if you go in there and say, "Hey, I live here and I make this. Will you carry this?"
Yeah.
They'll do it.
Right behind
And-
me is the local.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, months later, it was the free comic book day later that year. And they invited me to come table at that because I knew it was to be a kids family event. And the kids are next to me with their dad. They're like, "Oh, yeah,
Nice.
we have Turtle Boy carried in this shop and that shop and that shop because we just asked." And they said yes. I was like, "That's it. Just all they can say is no, and then you just
Right.
go somewhere else."
And that's okay.
But they don't
That's
say
amazing.
no.
What a good lesson, though, I
Yeah.
think, for kids to be like, "Hey, I have this great idea. Are you interested?" And maybe they're like, "Oh, we don't have space." That's okay.
And it's an amazing
And then
way to get
most
started on
everyone's
that
gonna have
path to
space.
foster the
Yeah.
self-created creativity that's coming completely from them.
Right.
And then for them also to feel like they have a space to create and produce
those
a physical
stories, yeah.
media out there. It's a great city for that. It's,
And
you
what kind
can't
of
be beat.
heartless bastard would say no to two kids in a
Exactly.
fucking zine?
I
Bunch
don't
of
want to
dicks.
know.
Yeah.
Fucking burn your
Yeah.
place down. Anyways.
They know. They just show up at their house in a homemade Turtle Boy costume, just wrecking house.
Turtle Boys, go.
All right. So now it's time to talk that horror shit.
Okay.
The what?
That horror shit.
What's a Jawn? That's what I want to know.
Jawn?
Am I not supposed to know that
You might. It's
because of my
affiliate.
honkification?
No.
Yeah, we're not
I'm
from
Italian. I'm told that's pretty close.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And
That
in
wasn't a yes.
Philadelphia-
That wasn't a yes for ambush.
It's okay. It's a Philly.
It's adjacent.
It's a Philadelphia word.
Okay.
Just for everything.
Like
can
you're gonna
use it.
just jaw about it.
Yeah, pick the Jawn up, one to the other Jawn, and drop the Jawn off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a. It's a noun. It's like it's all the
Yeah.
things.
All
Yeah.
the things. All
Okay.
the things.
Sounds good.
So, what is the last horror film that you've seen?
This was hard. This was probably, I'm guessing, now also difficult for you. I'm assuming. I'm making wild
I
assumptions.
couldn't believe it. Harper and I were talking like we actually like knocked two out of the bag, like just like we haven't recently, and then we just lucked into some good ones. So please, what do you have?
Well, so this is basically I went back through because I was trying to think of like, okay, we watch horror all the time,
Oh, yeah.
all the time. We're currently again mid-season of the X-Files.
Nice. Nice.
This is the second full rewatch that Steve and I have done. So like we're just constantly watching horror. It is all that I watch. If there's a comment like a comedy in there, that's I'm like I was sick or something that day. But it was hard. But I had to go back. So I had to go back. And I think for ones that really stuck out, Talk to Me
Okay.
And then Angry Black Girl and her Monster, and those were the two. And then there's
Okay.
like another laundry list, which
I
I,
loved
will get
both
to.
of those.
But I loved both of those.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, question: 1 being the best or 4 being the best?
4 would be the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a stars system then.
Okay, like Star
Okay,
Search.
Gotcha. Yes. 2 3/4 stars.
Yeah.
You can do that. You do the quarters and the halves, all of it.
Yeah.
What do
you go.
What do you
Go.
got?
We won't
What's the
write
last one you watched?
Those 2 movies I haven't seen, and they're definitely on my list because I've heard amazing things about
Yes,
both of them.
yes,
both
yes.
of them. I find most of the stuff that I didn't know about, definitely from horror TikTok. Like we talked about the different talks.
Horror time.
Remember we talked? It was on. Oh,
Yeah.
It was news with my fiance. It was
Yeah.
a thing that came up. One of the rare times I try and railroad their show.
One of the rare.
It was talking about the different talks, and there's the ones that I follow are D&D talk and horror talk, and there's some great people that review some stuff that I literally take screenshots for the next morning because I look at TikTok like before I go to bed,
Gotcha.
and the next morning I look at my notes, my screenshots, and see, oh, what's this, and it was When Evil Lurks is a movie that is currently on Shudder, and it's Argentinian, and it came out just 2023, and it is all, I think it's definitely physical, a lot of physical, practical effects.
Okay.
I gauge a lot of the movies on how I feel about them and where they're at in my mind. Watching them with Harper, who also does reviews for the zine, my fiance.
Nice.
Was originally Ghoul Fiend Gags, where I make her watch terrible horror movies and she has to sit through them and review them and gives very honest
Harper's face
reviews.
just
Bless
sounds
you.
like- yeah.
But now that we're engaged, it's the Ghoul Fiance Gags.
Nice.
And this movie, When Evil Lurks, there's a part right in the middle where it's like, it's kind of like there's an evil entity that is an incorporeal entity that's taking over people, and you can't really guess who's evil in the moment.
Oh, wow.
But there's a scene with a small child and a very large family dog that doesn't go good, and it went where you hope it doesn't go, and she's like, nope, I'm done. So we stopped, and then when she was away house sitting for our friends when they were out of town, I was like, all right, I'll give it a go, I'll finish the movie.
Finish it up.
And it was well done, but boy, it is a mean-spirited movie. It does not let up. So that one, because I'm also more of a fun horror lover, I would give that one a solid 3.
Nice.
Definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me,
Okay.
I would definitely give 4.
Yeah. Talk to Me was
I loved it.
great.
Same with Angry Black Girl. and
Yeah.
Monster.
The other new movie that I watched that I highly recommend to everybody is this year's Lisa Frankenstein.
I just saw
Okay,
it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I just saw it on a list. Sorry.
It is
popped up on a list.
fantastic. It is. At first, the reviews I got were all from people. I'm like, dang, I never heard that. See that person like talk about a movie, and it literally, and it's got the other half, the other lead that is the Frankenstein character is Cole Sprouse from The
Yeah,
Sweet
the
Like of
little-
Zach and Cody,
He's like
right?
a Disney boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this
Disneyland.
movie is so. But it's written by Diablo Cody, who's Jennifer Body, and all that kind of stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But it is so perfect. It's an 80s film, and it is it's a perfect mix on purpose and fun-loving without being winky hokey.
Okay.
It's a perfect mix of Heathers and Edward Scissorhands. It is highly recommended.
Okay.
Okay.
It is.
I'll
It's a
watch
new
it.
annual Halloween watch. It is good.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
good.
Okay.
It's on that list. So I give that one a solid 5.
Because I saw it and was like, I'll get around to it.
No, it looks silly, but if
Yeah.
you like sit down, it's done by people who get what it's supposed to be, and they do it
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Because that popped up on a list, and I was like, all right.
Worth it.
Okay.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Good to
So
know.
you gave Talk to Me 4,
Yep.
and Angry Black Girl, what'd you give that?
4.
Okay, 4s and 4s.
I loved it.
I'm going to give this a 3. I watched Thanksgiving. And I watched Thanksgiving thinking I was preparing to watch Thanksgiving thinking I was watching another film. There's another film where...
Thanksgiving?
Is it Thanksgiving?
Maybe.
Where
But
the-
I think
the family shows up looking like Puritans and they're coming to a
Oh,
like
that
they're
sounds like
supposed
a
to be-
Purge type of movie, but no, I'm thinking of I know what you're talking
Maybe.
Yeah,
about.
like they
Yeah.
thought they were doing like a reenactment.
Oh.
And like the family thought, like, oh yeah, great, these are the people that we asked to come, actors we asked to come do the reenactment,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
it goes left, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this okay, I want to watch this, and it's been out for a while,
Yeah.
So then I saw Thanksgiving, pulled it up, I said, okay, yeah, I finally get a chance to watch this. Put it on. It was not that. It was not that. And it was, I'm not huge for the slashers.
Sure.
I need some mythos. But this was amazing.
Well, the origin story of what that movie was, right?
Give it to me.
It's been out for a long time, but it was. Remember when Tarantino and Rodriguez did Planet Terror?
That's what I was
and
thinking of. Okay.
Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those movies, when they did those two movies, Planet Terror and the other one's escaping me now, Death Proof.
Death Proof. Thank you.
There was a group of other famous horror movie directors that just made trailers.
Right, because that's
like-
where we got Machete, right?
Yeah, Machete
Okay.
was a trailer. Rob Zombie did Werewolf Women of the SS.
Right.
Eli Roth did Thanksgiving, and it was just
Eli
a trailer.
Roth?
That's
Yes,
Wow.
it was just a trailer, but people kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him. Make this movie, because they love that trailer.
Right.
So this movie is because of a trailer they made for the
Okay.
Grindhouse films.
That's amazing.
That is what I thought,
Yeah.
but then I thought maybe it wasn't because I
No, that's
wasn't
where it
sure if
comes
it was
from.
Eli. Okay, that was when I saw that. I was like, is this not just that?
It was good.
Okay.
Okay.
It was good. There are some
Okay.
things that happen within the first 15 minutes, and you're like, oh, we're going there. Okay.
All
You-
things related to Basteen.
Yeah, I guess. You okay. Oh, we've
Stuffing,
established the levels of which,
yeah.
Well,
which things are going to
there's
go.
a notorious trampoline scene in the trailer that I imagine was a scene in the movie. It had to be because they would be criminal if they made the movie without
I can't
that
remember
scene.
the trampoline scene.
You gotta be joking me, man. I haven't seen the movie. I've just seen the trailer
Just
a bunch
the
of
Now I
times.
got to
Yeah.
rewatch it because I mean, here's the thing. It
Right.
It may have happened, but there were so many other things
Right.
that hit me harder.
Yeah.
That the trampoline scene, just,
Right.
I felt with the wayside.
Well, and did Eli Roth direct this one or write this, or was it someone else?
I'm not sure of his involvement. I didn't really, at least not that I remember.
Right.
But it was based on his
Okay,
on his
because
trailer.
Eli Roth is not afeared of
Right.
squelches.
Right.
So,
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
right.
no.
All right. So talking about horror films, staying within
Okay,
the conversation, what do you need? I talked about it a little bit as far as my personal preference. What do you need for a good horror to like pull you in?
What did I write? I answered this. Well, compelling characters. I do. It sort of depends on what mode or like mood I'm in.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't care. It could be. I could be up from like whatever looks wild. Does it have a wild like cover on it? I'll watch trailers. I'm like, does the trailer feel real fucking weird?
Okay.
Cool. Is this sketchy? Do I understand? Children are always terrifying. So I'm like, anything with children, scary.
Always.
But I love. My favorites are always like really compelling characters. The characters don't have to be the good person. It could be bad guy, whatever. But like
Right.
juicy characters and some sort of like. I need like a plot. I need like a plot driven and I think this happens often. I guess it happens with psychological horror too. I feel like it happens a lot with slasher films, and this is where this will lead into maybe the next question. But like slasher films start to lose it for me when it's just like gratuitous and has no
It's just a
purpose.
body
You
count.
can,
Yeah.
you can have all the meaningful like throat slashes in the world if you're like this follows this trajectory, but the minute it's just like for funsies, I
Right.
don't know. You
Right.
lost me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless the blood spatter's like really spectacular, then maybe I'll be on board. But
Right.
it could be gorgeous.
There was one, and I had to look it up today, and I was talking again to Harper. I was like, I had so many movies stuck in my head. I was like, what was that called? And there was a movie that we watched called The Dark and the Wicked. And this is a movie that I got. It's from 2020. And I did get this one from Horror Talk. And it's the story of a brother and sister, adult brother and sister, going back to their parents' ranch because their father has died and their mother is like having like spells where she's speaking in tongues. And it's very folk horror, rural. It's on a ranch.
Started that.
And it's like a brother and sister coming back, and the sister wants to help, the brother wants to be over with it and get it done. But that movie sucked us in because it's normal, and then something yucky happens in the background that's just out of focus.
No.
You're like, like it just. I like that stuff where it's like, Like if you just
Yeah.
open your eyes and you're just open to it, and especially if it's mundane stuff that like kind of lulls you in.
Mundane
Yeah.
is terrifying.
And then goes,
though.
"Bah."
So terrifying.
You know, not a jump scare, but it's just like as the camera pans, if you don't
Right.
blink, you're like, oh God, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was full of that, and it also I knew it was a good one because as I look over, and if Harper is clutching one of the pillows from the couch, hiding behind the pillow, and somehow with a third hand that I don't know about flipping me off, then I know it's a great film.
Right.
And that was definitely the Dark and the Wicked is highly recommended, and that's
That's another
solid.
one I have on a watch list. I had to pull it up to see the the titles.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. I remember starting that. I don't know why I didn't finish it. Maybe I fell asleep because I like to put on horror movies when I go to bed. Like I love it. Morgan is like, what are we doing? what exactly do you expect from
That was
me
a fantastic impression of Morgan.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, like no, absolutely not.
No.
We're not doing it. Yeah, for me, I always want to feel, and I think X-Files did this for me. I think Friday the 13th, the series did this for me. I need backstory. I need mythos.
yeah, I
I
do
need to
love
feel
that,
like
yeah.
I'm entering another world.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I want to leave with that character and those ideas, and then I want to watch the reviews and find out that this character is from another book. It's from somewhere else in history. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, just your traditional, exorcisms and, demons.
Yeah, anything occult, anti the church related, please. Yeah.
Give me the
I
occult
do
stuff.
love folklore. I feel like folklore has always been around, but I think has been coined folklore in the last handful of years, and it is that pastoral life, and then someone has a scythe, and you're like, shit, I don't know, because it is that it's quiet,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
it feels very mundane. I don't know if you saw Lamb. It's another
Oh,
one where
we
you're
saw
I
like,
didn't
Harper,
watch it.
Harper and I went and saw it in the theater.
Yet.
That was one of those
Yes.
movies where you're like, oh.
that baby had
Oh.
a really lovely sweater, please. But it wasn't loud horror,
Right.
which I think is what most of us grew up on.
Yeah.
Because it just slashers feel loud.
Yeah.
No, there's opposites. I remember seeing in the theater the R. Lee Ermey start. He was in the remake of the Texas Chainsaw. I don't know if that was
Okay.
in the 2000s or whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was sweating in that movie because
Yeah.
it was all the
Yeah.
mechanical screaming noise and stuff.
Yeah.
It was too much, man. I was like, I get it. You're scary.
Yeah.
Dude, stop.
Yeah.
It was distracting how loud and mad it was. But yeah, Lamb, it was like, wait, is there more movie? I feel like I was in the middle of a movie the whole time.
I know. And then I was
Wow.
like, what's happening?
And I'm like,
But
did I like that? I think I like that. I'm pretty sure I like
It
that.
was not. It was nice. It
Yeah.
was like a calm. I don't know. It had a calmness, but calm is also eerie. People don't like
yeah.
it when it's too quiet, right?
I love it.
and
Shout
it
out to
was-
Ari Aster.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you talking about that mundane.
Have you seen the
bulk.
trailer for that Sasquatch?
His new family of Sasquatch movie where the Sasquatch eat mushrooms and whatnot.
No.
Oh, it's like the Sasquatch Sam Squanch Squad or whatever it's called.
Sam Squanch.
I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it looks funny or if it's going to be scary. He was executive producer.
Okay.
But I'm like, it's going to be wild.
Is it Michael Cera's one of the Sasquatch?
Jesse.
Oh, wow.
Just the other one, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
And it's like this
Wow.
heavy duty, amazing,
Oh, they had
American Werewolf in London level
about
of
sweat.
practical costume effects.
Oh.
And it's
Yeah.
just them out. It's gonna be like Caveman with Ringo Starr. No one talks. I imagine. I think it's
they're
they're
just
like
grunting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
they're devoted to doing 2 hours of that.
They're all Sam Squanch.
And it looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's lovely. You watch the trailer.
Okay.
It's wild. But I don't know. I was like, ooh, Ari Aster, super into it.
Yeah.
He does these really
Hereditary is
fucked up
in my,
family dynamic
they're in my top.
stories.
That's in my top 3.
Also same.
That film is just,
Yeah.
oh my god,
that
absolutely
grandma.
amazing.
Oh, that face on the desk. Woo.
Oh, it's so much.
Never stick your head
It's
out
one
of
of
a
my
car
favorite
window.
Mother's Day movies, other than Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Right.
Mother's Day. All right, so
Other
between the
than-
two, slasher or psychological horror, what's the preference?
Me, psychological horror
Okay.
for sure.
It's strange because in the slasher movies, I love my favorite slasher movie of all time is Halloween. I love the Halloween franchise, but that's not because I'm a huge Michael Myers fan, but
Right.
I'm a huge Dr. Loomis fan. I want Donald Pleasance and everything, so I want the doctor that has to deal with that. It's a weird, but he's the psychological piece of a
Right.
Yeah.
slasher movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Interesting.
I don't know, and that's for being such a big horror fan, and not to get sidetracked here, but I also DM D&D 5e D&D game every 2 weeks, and as I think back to even when I started playing in before I had a driver's license in '92 or whatever, before pulling chicks and driving cars. I've always been like the cleric or the paladin that like is the monster hunter. Like the Frog Brothers really speak to me, man. Okay. So like as much as I love horror movies and monster movies, it's like with the psychological pieces they want to add to a slasher film is kind of like a sweet spot for me.
Sure.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, I do love slasher. I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night is our only Christmas tradition,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Hollywood Theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do love them, but if I had to like pick one over the other, psychological.
I definitely.
For sure.
When Rob Zombie redid Halloween, it was like the first one, crystal clear, not the second one.
Right.
Hold, please.
Really?
Yeah.
That was like, okay, I am all the way in.
Right.
That
Well,
was
it completely
amazing
fleshed
for me.
out how a child can grow up so broken and
Yes.
damaged and soiled in a family.
Yes.
Like the man had his greasy thumbprints all over it, and like, okay, I get it. Like I totally understand.
Yeah.
And no amount of Danny Trejo. Come on, Mikey, I was good to you. That it's too
Didn't
late.
matter.
Too
It
late,
didn't
bro.
matter
Man.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ken Foray was nice in that
Yeah.
too. Though. That's
yeah.
good.
I think at that point I was already like drunk on whatever he was doing. So like House of a Thousand Corpses was my introduction.
Yeah.
I forgot what was the second one. Where they went on the run.
Run, rabbit, run.
No.
The one that I always, and it's outside of that, the one that I somehow I get pulled into it. Something inside me makes me want to watch The Witches of Salem, or what's that
Same.
one?
I want to watch that too.
I watch it once a
Oh.
year, and I don't even think about it. I just need to watch Lords of Salem.
Lords of Salem.
Lords of
Yes.
Salem. That movie, and people can boo boo and hiss all over Rob Zombie movies. I'm sorry, if you haven't seen Lords of Salem, then you don't know what you're talking about, because that
Okay.
movie
It's
is
great.
astounding.
I want to watch
Dee
that.
Wallace
It's
is
really
fantastic,
good.
and it's like this amazing coven of like ex-70s actress, the famous people. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And every time I watch it, I get something more out of it. The pacing,
Wow.
the visuals, nothing else is like that movie. It is astounding. Lords of Salem is fantastic, and I don't even mean to. I just suddenly like find myself like in a trance scrolling, and there it is, and I'm like, yep, let's
Right.
put that on again.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Devil's
always a
Rejects.
good-
That was the film I was
Oh,
thinking.
The
thank
Devil's
you. I was
Rejects.
like, which is the one with Captain Spaulding?
Yes.
Like Devil's Rejects.
Yes. So good. So I'm assuming everyone here does have a Shudder account.
Yes.
Of,
Okay.
of course, please.
Okay.
I know. That's why I was going through these things yesterday, talking to Steve, and I was like, "Damn it, Steve, what did we watch?" He's like, "I don't know. Just look at Shudder." He's like, "Doesn't it keep track?" I'm like,
Shudder
"No,
or
it
Tubi?
actually
Yeah,
doesn't."
exactly.
Right. So when it comes to like horror comics and graphic novels and things of that nature, my first interaction with the horror comic was here. I can't remember how many years ago.
Come on in.
Yeah, definitely. Come on in. I can't remember how many years ago it was, but the comic was called Infidel. And the cover really, really caught me. And I was like, okay, woman in a job. Okay, all right, let's check it out. And then I started reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a horror comic. I've never experienced that. This is absolutely fucking amazing. And then I was just hooked, absolutely hooked at that point. Since then, I've been reading, been collecting House of Slaughter, and there was something else. Donna would know what else I've been picking up. Philadelphia. How dare I?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Donna.
cue.
Thank you. How dare I? How dare I?
Yeah.
So I have a really amazing story. Again, this is why this shop is so amazing. So again, shopping here for a while, and Donna's always like, "Hey, we can just, you get the same books for the most part. There's a core book, set of books that you get. I can just get you a box, a subscription box." And I'm like,
box, yeah.
no. I don't want to, I don't need a pull box. I'm fine.
It's too much,
I
too
love
much,
walking
too
the
much.
store. I love picking the things. So then,
You could still do both.
yes.
Have
So like
both.
month after month, I find myself grabbing the very last copy of Philadelphia. And I'm like, I am rolling the dice here. Stop playing games, Ambush. You want this book.
Especially because
You know?
you're in a neighborhood of a city that already is geared towards
Right.
loving comics.
Right.
Like this
Right.
isn't just some like weird pigeonholed nerd thing. Like,
Right.
duh,
No.
you're in Comic City and you should
Comic City,
Yeah.
indeed.
for reals.
So it was after months of that, Donna finally confessed it to me. She was like, "Yeah, so I get your copy, and I put your copy on the
Donna,
shelf.
you're the greatest. I see you walking up the street, and I run and I set it on the shelf just for you. You are the kindest human of
She's
all
got little
time.
Charles Dickinson
Dickens, yeah.
little children's with the newsy caps on the corner. Because she
your
knows he's on the
comic.
way and run out and play.
Here's your comic, Ambush.
It's like you refuse to get a box, and you must walk the store. Then fine, then fine. And it's been rewarding getting a box now, because now there's just like some treats in there. And I was like, hey, I know you'd love this, and right every single time. There hasn't been a time.
Yeah.
There's been something in my box where it's like, oh, well, I don't know. It's like, nah, thank you,
That's
keep it coming.
the sign of a great comic book shop
Absolutely.
of like, hey, we notice you buy these things all the time. Here's the suggestion. We know you'll love it. Because
Right.
there's so much out there.
Yeah.
There's so much out there. Actually, this just dawned on me. So I have a copy of Uzumaki. Horror manga is wild. The illustrations are gorgeous. So I have a copy of that. I've read the first. It was a while ago, and then they did like all 3 series in one hard book. So I was like, yes.
Nice.
Thinking back, so my dad was like a Batman comics guy, and he
Nice.
had, I don't remember, I have it somewhere. He had this old Batman comic, had to have come out in like the early 90s, but it was very dark. Like it was a very dark kind of scary. Batman had a baby with some
Okay.
girl. I don't know. It was wild, but it was like
It wasn't Damien?
I don't think Damien's from that far back, man.
I don't
Yeah, you're right. I don't think
think
Damien was
so.
that far back.
But it was like a very dark.
No, just Batman just had someo's baby. He just walked around with someone's baby. It wasn't his.
He actually just baby napped it. I'm so sorry.
All right.
It's a kidnapping story. No, I think he had like a child with this woman. I don't know. Yeah, for Gotham. This is dark baby. I am baby.
That baby.
We're gonna write this story. But that was the first time I realized comics could be horror, because we grew up on horror. We're a Stephen King household.
Nice.
I didn't know you could have comic book. Like I just thought comic books were superhero and
Yeah.
like fun, save the world, like whatever. And that was like the first realization. And then, obviously, years later, decades later, when I worked at the Art Institute, they had the whole graphic novel set for The Walking Dead.
Oh,
and
nice.
seeing that whole set, and I was like, damn, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
The illustrations are spectacular. It's great. And then watching the show and compare, like, too good.
It for me, it definitely started with just monster comics, not really horror comics, just
Okay.
anything with monsters, and especially like I really got into comics probably in the early '80s, the end of the Bronze era, and it was just. But then finding like old cheap back issues of all of the old '70s comics,
Yeah.
anything like Werewolf by Night or.
all the-
Blade and like because there was a
Yeah.
big boom, like that's what I always say, if a comic has 20-cent price tag on it, buy it. It's the best comic in the world.
Yeah.
Something about
Yeah.
like from 72 to 75, the comics were amazing.
Yeah.
They were all satanic panic and they knew what was
Yeah.
going
Oh,
on,
yeah.
and like it's because
Yeah.
the whole the comics code of the 50s had loosened
Right.
finally. It had started to
Right.
loosen.
Sure.
So now it could be a vampire as long as he was a living vampire and a doctor and like then
It
the
was like no
werewolf.
zombies, right?
Couldn't be zombies, so they had Zembubu. As long as they spelled it differently, like Doctor.
Right. I don't remember what the
Brother
comic, I don't remember
Voodoo,
what
yeah.
the code around that was.
That's
What
so
the
It was
name
the original code was that they could portray classic literature characters: Dracula,
Oh, sure.
vampire,
Okay.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. As long as
Okay.
there was classic literature associated with it that had, social value.
okay.
They
Interesting.
couldn't have no villains could ever win. Crime couldn't pay.
Irony.
The undead. You couldn't have the undead because that was the occult.
Sacrilege, yeah.
And but then that kind of loosened up a little bit to where you could finally have vampires again, and then zombies and werewolves kind
Right.
of came back, and
Yeah.
and it just ran wild in the 70s because also at that time you had the shock cinema packages in the 60s when the monster fad came out in the 60s because all the old 30s Universal films were
Right.
now on local television markets.
okay.
So it was just that extension of that. Each 10 years, it kind of a ripple
love
effect from there.
It must have. It's funny too, because like as an adult and like once I was in high school, and kind of going back and like realizing that monsters and horror had been in comics a lot longer than I had known. I'm surprised. Although then I'm like, oh, in the 70s, I'm like, why wasn't my dad paying attention to these comic books. He was a cop, so that's why.
He's like, real life
That's
is
it.
horror
Yeah,
enough.
that's enough.
The
No longer cool enough for
I don't
comics.
know what was. I know I have one specific horror comedy that's recent that I want to talk about. I don't remember the
Yes.
other questions if we have like
Yeah, go
recent
ahead.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually from Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander,
Okay.
who do Philadelphia. And Nita Hawes' Nightmare Blog is another
Okay.
one that they do. That's a favorite one of mine.
Yes.
But Rodney Barnes has his own publishing company called Zombie Love Studios, and they put out. In fact, I got it here from Donna. She said, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And I was like, "No." And it was like a month before it even hit the shelves.
Nice.
And it was like January of last year, 2023, the beginning of the year, and it was his take working with. I can't remember if it's. I wish I knew this, but with the film company that owned the rights to Blackula. And he wrote a collected, it's a trade paperback. So it's like 5 comics in one, but that's how he put it out. There's no single floppy issues. It was just this volume 1. And I read that thing, and I read it, and it's the same art from Philadelphia. It is astounding. Jason Sean Alexander. The two of them did this, and it breaks down the whole story. It takes the movie, everything from the movie, and brings it to now. He's been brought back to life again.
Oh,
And now he's
wow.
in modern day, either New York or Philadelphia. I can't remember which city he's in. But it is so amazingly written. When I stopped reading it the first time, I literally felt like in my core, Blackula was a slur, and I felt dirty thinking the word. That's how good this book is. It is fantastic. I think I've read it 5 times since then. And that came out in February of last year, and I knew then that it would be the best comic I would read that whole damn calendar year, and it was.
Okay.
And
I love that.
it's on Zombie Love Studios, his
Okay.
Blackula book, and he's currently almost finished, I believe, with volume 2 that introduces werewolves.
Okay. All right.
And,
so
but
I
they're
gotta
not
grab it.
single floppies. They're a full big square back trade.
Okay.
And they are fantastic.
I gotta grab it.
And it's just from Zombie Love Studios that he puts out, and Jason Sean Alexander is the artist, and it is astonishing.
I
It's
hope
so good.
everyone is writing these down. Watch list and purchase list
Seriously.
for sure.
Seriously.
That sounds great.
It's really
Those
good.
are the ones that I think are. Those are always good stories of like bringing back something that you know from the past or something that like it was a story that I think at this point Blackula is like
Yeah.
vague for a lot of folks
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and especially
very
young
true.
people, and then but to bring it back in such a great way to like.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I talked about
reclaim
it so
some of
much
that
last year
story.
that I think my phone still knows that automatically when I'm writing Prince Mamu. It goes Mamu all day. Like it's got his name worked out for me because I wrote it so many times. It's fantastic. I wouldn't shut up about it last
That's
year,
right.
and I still recommend it because I
love
can't
that.
wait for the second volume to come out.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you know when the second volume is scheduled to come out?
I don't think that any
yeah.
date's been listed yet. I
Okay.
know that he's been super busy because the man writes nonstop. He had that Lakers show on HBO. I mean,
Right.
he's
Oh, dang.
crazy, crazy busy.
Right.
That guy is busy.
Right.
But that's his personal labor of love, having the Zombie Love Studios, and so it's his call, it's his shots, and when it's finished, it's fantastic.
And thank you for reaching out to him, for tagging him on that Instagram
Man, I'm
post.
telling you,
And
he
he's
needs to
like,
know
yeah,
there's-
sure, I'll do the
Portland
interview.
loves comics, and Portland has
Hell
a
yeah.
solid
Yeah.
scene that's into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man. All right. So, upcoming horror. Is there anything you're looking forward to? I saw, I think a trailer and some other like promo stuff for the First Omen.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, all right, count me in. That the most recent Exorcist film with the 2 little girls in it kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah.
I was like, when I first saw the trailer for it, I'm like, let's go,
Same.
let's do it.
No,
I'm
we'll
ready.
we won't do it.
And they, yeah, right. They literally were like,
No.
I understand you're excited. We
We're
caused
not.
that. It's okay.
We want to manage your expectations
Yeah.
right now.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
dial
have
it
to
back.
ask you to sit down now. Yes.
Yeah, that was just like, I would have been upset. I would have been upset if like got people together like, let's go see it, and then be in the theater and like, oh, sorry guys, I owe you all pizza.
I did that actually with a group of friends for M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
Oh.
They were so mad at me when they turned out to be a live-action Scooby-Doo episode.
Okay, guys, listen. Morgan's not here, so I don't need to stand this slander. I love The Village. And she clowns
I
you.
hated it
She
first, but
clowns
it's
you
grown
for
on
it
me
so
since. I
bad.
dig it now, but at the time, I was not happy. I was an upset Rudo.
I also love The Village. I love The Village. But again, it's a
Stop it, Rudo.
if only you could see, there will be video. You jerks, She didn't know.
She didn't know, guys.
She had the yellow cloak
red.
on. Oh my god! So much of it was really cheesy. I don't know. It was good. We didn't know. We didn't know. No one knew. But did you see The Beach? Please, come on.
Okay.
Talk about
No.
Was it called Old?
Old, sorry.
Old?
Yeah, Old. The
Yeah.
Beach, sorry. The
Listen.
Beach is another movie, and
Okay.
that movie is fucking spectacular.
Okay.
Old is less.
The scene in the cave when she kept breaking, when her bones kept breaking.
Woo! Hot
That
dogs.
was.
Hot dogs.
Listen, that was it.
Hot dogs.
Like, Rudo's like, I don't care for it.
It hurt me too many times.
I didn't
It
like
hurt me.
Old as much. That scene was wild.
Okay.
It had some moments in there,
Yeah.
but
What a twist.
yeah. What's the last thing you would expect? Cool. That's what we'll do.
Well, that's what we were going to do the whole time.
Hi, my name is M. Night Shyamalan, and I'll do the same shit every time. The First Omen
Yeah.
you brought up. That
Yeah.
is something I am super stoked to see.
Yes.
I'm also stupider stoker to see Immaculate
I don't think I saw a trailer
with,
for that.
with little baby Sydney Sweeney.
The words about that have been hot,
and I
hot.
have heard
Uh-oh.
that someone was like, okay, remember Barbenheimer? Whatever the cutesy name for
Right.
The First Omen and Immaculate would be, go see those two back to back because they're very centered. They're female characters, births, whatever, and they're like, it's gnarly, but
The reviews
yeah.
I've heard from
Immaculate
Horror
looks-
Talk, Immaculate is
Yeah.
top shelf.
looks really, really
nice.
great.
Intense.
And
Okay.
I wasn't sure not to dog on little Sydney Sweeney, but I was
And that's
like,
heavy religious too.
Yeah.
Immaculate is
Nice.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? An American nun goes, I think, to either France or Italy
Yeah.
and is taken into convent there, and like bad ostracism and
Okay.
yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's wild. That what else did I? There was something else. Blade.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Whenever
Pause. Blade.
and the whole conversation.
Please. That's it.
Whenever
It'll come out eventually.
You know, yeah.
There's also Cuckoo, but Immaculate. I am.
Cuckoo, I've heard
Cuckoo
good,
does
but
look
Blade,
good.
I've actually been following obviously because anything Eric Brooks, I
It just,
have a
as long as
dumb
it-
amount of comics that are terrible but have Blade on the cover of them. I have 1999's Gambit #4 because Blade's on the cover for
Nice.
Gambit. Anyways, but that movie, the idea that Mahershala Ali is so in charge and has so much pull and juice that he gets to keep saying, nah,
That's great.
nah,
That is
this
so
is not
good.
right, nah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, everyone's like, oh, they're delaying it. I was like, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
wait.
Exactly.
It's
He's
So-
gonna nail it.
I'll watch Blade 2 again. I don't care. I'll
Yeah,
wait.
okay, we watched
Literally watched it the other day.
Yeah,
And then
so-
Trinity came on afterwards, and I was like, oh,
I'll go to sleep now.
let's see what else is on.
Yeah. Well, I need to do some shopping
Once
at
the
Home Depot.
Pekingese
Let's
and
just-
Triple H, it's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. Blade was that was like the last horror movie we watched, so then I had to go one back to talk to me. But that I am super stoked for.
What do you got, Rudo? What are you stoked
I'm
for?
trying to think of what's
Anything pique your interest in?
I don't know. I'm excited. I've actually just recently got pulled back into comics. I did a hard break. I had to break up 2 Octobers ago.
Okay.
I had just like unceremoniously got it was a reduction in force of the job I was at, and they fired 15% of the whole company. So I was like, oh, I'm spending $70 a week on comics. I need to not be doing that.
Okay.
Like, it was legit. Like, I had to break up with my
happens.
comic
It
shop.
happens,
and
bro.
Doug at Comic Cave was super gracious and nice and understood. And like, there was even a fund that like for people who
What?
couldn't pay for their pull box. Anyways, it's Portland, man. It's Portland. The
Nah,
scene here
that's
is
awesome.
amazing.
That's awesome.
So I had to go cold turkey. I was like, nah, I can't. I just can't. I can't. Stop.
Because you'll find a way.
So yeah, recently in the last month, I've like kind of been dipping my toe again, and then like, oh, there's a big crossover called Blood Hunt. I'm like, that sounds vampires, and it's Marvel. Crap! I was like, so it's a summer where Blade's in every single book, all for 3 months. Jeez. So as far as
Keep
horror
pulling
movies
you back
coming up,
in.
I know. Oh man, Fredo. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, like the simple stuff. Like, I'm really curious. I raised my daughter on Beetlejuice and the Beetlejuice
Yes.
cartoons
yeah.
and Jim Henson's Brown phase of Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and stuff. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
see what they're gonna do with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. I
Same.
hope that's
Same.
good.
I
mean, it's
fingers
it's
crossed.
V. Neil and it's everybody that's involved from the first one.
Except for the dad.
Right, of course.
Right.
He's dead.
With The new stuff, I don't know, man. It's so weird because I only find out about stuff, like I said, on Horror Talk after stuff that's already released.
Gotcha.
I can't think of anything that's coming to theaters that I'm excited to see.
I mean,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice definitely counts. We just saw it on at the Keller.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Tuesday.
Morgan's post. How was that? Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, was it musical, yeah?
Yeah, which I'm totally fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I know what I'm going.
Did
Did
I
you get the Bobert seats?
I did not.
These seats come with a Bobert.
I was on the
They're
aisle,
like
though.
plastic covered. I love Beetlejuice. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. Also, perfect naming.
Yeah.
I love musicals and I love theater, and I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if I could see this because I'm afraid it would just do it dirty, and
Yeah.
I couldn't
It
soil.
was a huge departure, which I was kind of prepared for. Because
Yeah.
this is what
Sure.
happens at Broadway. It's someone
Right,
else's
right.
vision. That's fine. But then there were just some of the classic characters and the way they were executed, and I'm just like,
Well, see, this has happened to me in my life. Is that it's like there's got to be a point to where I just go, "It's not for you, man."
Yeah.
like
Right.
I'll walk
Also-
around and I'll say that in the house to
Also same.
Harper, because my daughter, she loves Heathers, but she knows the Heathers like musical,
Right.
word for word.
Oh.
Wow.
She
Okay.
just moved down to Eugene. She's gonna be she's 19. She turned 19 in February, and she was raised on all that stuff. I brought her up on all
Yeah.
that, like and man, like that's her thing, and
Right.
that's just
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
man.
We're
And I
old.
get it. I totally dig on that.
same, yeah.
So I could see how that would be often different. I mean, it's not
Sure.
like dragging her to Evil Dead the musical.
I mean,
you know?
I'll put it to you like
Oh,
this:
no.
Morgan and I were the only people it felt like in the Keller that didn't enjoy it. So yeah, like
Okay.
they were loving it.
Yeah.
It was went over like gangbusters. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, this rendition just wasn't for me.
Right.
It was a little. I know it's a musical. I know where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like it was whimsical to the point that it just changed the whole feel of the,
Right. Yeah.
of the project.
Like
for
they
me.
didn't do a Sweeney Todd to it, like
right.
because I
It's like-
would have
love
I
Sweeney
would have
Todd.
expected a Sweeney Todd touch to it, where
Right.
it's kind of it's still like cheeky and catchy and like it's Sondheim, so like you get it, but
Yeah.
it's still dark. Like
No.
it's still
Twist not dark.
No.
Yeah. And we're talking Beetlejuice here.
They
was it
leaned
Shrunken
heavily
Heads,
into
where they're
the
like,
neon green.
Was Miss Argentina there?
Yes. So, and that was the other thing too. They did so much with the order of the film too,
Yeah.
which served the way they were telling the story. But I'm expecting to see certain characters, in the first half, and I'm like, when I didn't see Juno or anyone from the waiting room within the first half of the film, of the
Hey,
play.
Coach, I don't think we made it.
Right, yo. I was like, you cannot give me Beetlejuice
Right.
without these characters.
Right.
Yeah, you
But
need
they
the
showed
case
up,
for
they showed
Okay,
up
okay.
afterwards.
Yeah.
They showed up afterwards, and it was
Okay.
cool. It was cool. Yeah.
As a side note, me as still Beetlejuice related,
Mm-hmm.
as an idiot. How old was I when the first one came out? I don't know. I was a teenager.
Uh-huh.
Didn't really recognize this at the time, but after the trailer came out for the second one, talking with my cousin Dan, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "How long did it take you to realize that when you commit suicide, you end up working as a civil servant or basically the DMV in hell?" And I was like, "Oh shit, right?" I was like, "How did I never?"
Right.
I never put those two things together, and I was like, God damn,
So good.
that's what you get. I don't know. I was like, that's hilarious, and I
That's the lesson learned.
had
Yeah.
never quite I just flew right over my head.
As a crew that thirsts for horror the way we do, what are some of the things that you feel like are missing from the genre, or things that you'd like to see more of?
I always want to see more supernatural and monster westerns. I've dug them up. I've watched them all. I love them.
Do you have a favorite?
There's actually one. Well, it's a really weird one. I don't know if it's my favorite, but one that I love recommending is there's one called Gallow Walkers, and it stars
Okay. Is that
Wesley
Wesley?
Snipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really fun, and it's like super bright, and it's in the hot sun, and there's vampires and how they have to live and hide, but it's a western. But monster and supernatural horror westerns are definitely mine. My favorite one that Harper loves is Ravenous. Is one of my all-time
great.
favorite movies.
I forgot about
Which
that.
is the cannibal movie, Guy Pearce
And Friends.
Robert Carlyle.
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, anything supernatural westerns, horror westerns, I love a ton.
That's a good
I
combo.
dig that a lot.
Okay.
Because it's not saturated, it's not overdone,
Yeah.
but it's a crapshoot. Like if you're going on Tubi or you're like making lists and you're going on all the streaming services we have access to today, you will find some stuff. And there are some great gems and there's some crap, total dog turds out there.
Okay.
But at least then I saw it and I gave it a shot, you know, because it's every time it's going to be different.
Right.
It's not like another slasher at a camp movie, you know.
Right.
It is also something that a low budget can pull off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, as long as you're not building a whole, like, old-timey Western town.
Yeah, you're good.
If you're just, like, in a house or something like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So those can be really great or just meh. But, yeah, Western supernatural horrors is what I dig.
Okay.
I love that.
What about you?
Things I love to see and I would like to continue to see more. This is kind of two sides of the same coin. Female main leads, specifically females,
Yes.
that are not damsels.
Yeah.
So I think of Barbarian.
Oh,
when she
man.
walks in. Now, first off, I was yelling at her, which I also love. That's a good sign of a good movie, is when you're just like, no, leave. But she was like, no, I got this, whatever. I do this. Like, no
Right.
damsels. But then also, I think I brought this up in the last episode with The Conjuring, of like, can't women just be evil?
Yeah.
Men have been evil for a very long time. Men
Right.
have just like, because of no reason, someone stole their candy bar when they were a kid, so now they're on a murdering spree. Can we
Right.
not do that too?
Right. You guys get your murder spree on.
Yeah,
It's a big deal.
I don't know. Like, why do I have
Why you
to?
cheating
And not
me
tie
in my
it to
spree?
some like child, not other than I guess childhood trauma of losing a candy bar, but like not tie it to she was assaulted as a child. Like it's always tied to
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like
Very specific
horrendous
trauma.
that I'm like, do we need to? Things I would love to see more of is some more practical effects.
Okay.
Yeah, mix
Okay.
it in with some CGI because there's a lot of stuff that leans real heavy on CGI, and
Yeah.
I think to go back to like Western, like find an old ghost town, but like
Yeah.
have like practical.
But
very,
even
like,
those movies can
tactical-
have the terrible powdery-looking CGI blood. Poof.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
DC Comics came out with a full line of the Conjuring horror comics.
yes, oh
Yeah.
They were
yes.
fantastic.
Yeah. I did grab
Really
a couple
good.
of those. Yeah.
They're
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
How about you, sir?
Definitely stories told from a woman's perspective, from the feminist perspective, for sure. What was that? That last Candyman film.
Oh,
Is that Sasha? Who's Green? Sasha Green?
yeah.
Do you think she also directed that series on HBO? Why is the name escaping me?
Not them. No.
No.
Or they,
with,
them.
With John.
The House of Usher?
Oh man, that was so good. That was so good. Yeah. No. Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this- Oh my god.
Oh, we were hooked. I
So
love
good.
Lovecraft. So going back to kind of like, I love sci-fi. I
Misha
love
Green.
like
Misha
weird
Green.
Misha Green. Thank
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you. I love like psychological, but like monster. I don't know. I do love it all.
It was all combined in
I
that.
loved
It was
that.
all the way combined in that. So
Wild.
good, so good. So more stories told from that perspective, definitely. And then yes, female protagonists.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, and also just being the villain. Like
Yeah,
give me
like,
more of that.
I
Like
don't know.
Barbarian was. It was both.
It was.
Barbarian was
Why?
something else.
I loved it.
Recently rewatched Cobweb with Morgan because she hadn't seen it yet.
That's on my list. I haven't seen that yet.
Cobweb is
That movie was recommended to me, and it was great because it was like if you want to feel Halloweeny, like it's that movie itself feels like autumn, and I haven't seen it yet. But everyone's like, it was like must have been during the blitz of Christmas. It was like, do you miss Halloween or whatever? And it was like, or for summer watches. It was a summer horror movie. It was like if you want to hurry up, it puts you in that the atmosphere is there on
Yeah.
the movie. So I got to see that.
Okay.
Yeah, Cobweb was really good. Really, I was anxious to watch it again with Morgan. Also, The Pope's Exorcist was another one I was anxious to watch again.
I
with her.
watched that because
Loved
of you,
it.
and that was fun. And I
They're
was
talking
always
about-
curious
they're-
about the Spanish
Russell
Inquisition.
Crowe's making
Right.
talking about making that a trilogy. He's got two more movies he's getting.
We
getting
need
worked
that.
On. Yeah.
Yes.
He
yeah.
can workship his accent a little, but
Oh, for sure.
But,
For
but
sure.
I loved it. Steve and I watched it actually after you had recommended it, Ambush, and I was like, damn, like, this is fun.
Yes.
It's wild. It's fun. I don't know.
Yeah, that historical
I'm in.
twist, like that's a great
that's a
example
cool
of what I'm
thing.
talking about. Because when it happened, my mouth hit the floor like, what?
Yeah. it's like, I'm-
What?
No one expects it.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good. History. Okay, so a couple more questions. Worst horror film you've watched?
This is more of a genre. I don't have a specific one, and this
Okay.
is something that I specifically do when I am working on the zine. If I'm not playing music,
Okay.
if I'm not like having something, it's something I like to have on in the background, and it usually works out to be terrible. Is if you go to somewhere like Tubi or any free streaming movie service, and you try and find the most terrible and most unwatched Bigfoot movie.
What?
Oh, there is a billion of them. The Bigfoot movies, just random, like homemade, big, like small budget. Yes, they are fantastic to have on in the background when you don't need to watch or pay attention. They are different levels of terrible and amazing. So I've been caught a couple times, like, wait, whoa, this is good. Hold on, stop. And I just turn it off and wait again. There was a movie, I believe it came out in, I think it was 2017, 2018, called Willow Creek.
Okay.
And it is a found footage, kind of Blair Witchy, but it's in Willow Creek, which is Northern California, where the Patterson-Gimli footage was taken in the 60s. Directed by this unknown director named Bobcat Goldthwait. And I shit you not, it is the best Bigfoot movie I've ever seen. Are you
kidding me?
Called, yes, Willow Creek
Willow
is what it's
Creek.
called.
Okay.
But outside of that, if you just put on and just search Bigfoot and put that in there,
Yeah.
ooh-wee, the stink-a-rooney that comes off of that skunk ape is amazing. And there is an endless supply of them. They has droppings everywhere that you can go find in the forest. So I don't have one specific, but that is my go-to
Bigfoot
garbage bag.
genre.
And I like that energy coming off the TV when I'm just writing stuff and cutting and pasting and putting together stuff. That just fuels the silly and the dumb, which I always aim for in the zine. So that's my go-to.
That's hilarious.
I would have never. I shouldn't doubt
Right.
anyone, but yeah, I would have not thought Bigfoot horror.
No, same. Same.
Wow, wild new places. I have a specific one, and this
Okay.
I was saying earlier was a hard because I have a very high tolerance for really shitty films. Things I don't watch, rom-coms. Things I'm not a huge fan of. If someone's like, oh, what do you want to watch? It's not a rom-com, and it's probably not a comedy unless maybe it's like an old school Jim Carrey.
Okay. So you've never seen The Other Guys, is what you're telling me.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But like those are just things I don't go. But so like I'll watch every horror. If it's a movie, if it's out, if it's a horror movie, it's streaming. I'm like, this feels interesting. I'll watch it. And I have a pretty good tolerance. I think I mentioned Vivarium,
Yes.
which I didn't like, but I wouldn't say it's my least favorite or I hated it. It was just I think the pacing was off.
Definitely the pacing.
The
but I
one
enjoyed it,
film
too.
that like I saw it in the theaters. Everyone walked out of that theater, and like half of the theater was like, "We should have fucking walked out." Was the early 2000s remake of The Hills Have Eyes?
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
No, I didn't do that either.
Okay.
There's just and again, I go to sleep watching like murder docs or horror movies. So like that's just I'm like, oh, I need to hear how someone like disembodied this person and put them in a fucking vat of acid.
Right.
Snoozy time. Pretty high tolerance.
I don't know what it is. Something
It's
about
very
you just
calming.
nuzzle
I don't
up.
know.
It
I'm
just-
like, oh, I feel cozy.
cozy.
Yay. That movie has a scene.
Dear
that
Ed
is-
Kemper,
Yeah.
I thought you were great.
Your
The way you
the
bound,
love
tortured,
of your
and
mother,
killed.
yeah. Mama's boy. There's a scene in there that is like 2 lines across the line. I don't know.
Wow.
It went a little. For people that have seen it that are like, this movie made me feel uncomfortable. It's the same scene for everyone.
Okay. All right.
It's just one. And the original, also horrific and terrifying.
Sure. Absolutely.
Great. Good story.
Okay.
If you've ever driven through that part of Nevada,
Yeah.
it's scary as fuck.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of nothing in there. It's
yeah.
not awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
all right.
Yeah.
Now I want to see it. Now we gotta check it out.
Don't watch it with Morgan.
Okay.
Don't do that to him.
Okay.
No. It's
Don't stress her out. Yeah.
fucked up.
There was a film we started together that is like the worst horror film I've seen, and this was during the time period when she was still tolerating me putting on horrors to go to bed.
Love her.
And then it was like maybe the third or fourth night. She's like, again? You're not done with this yet? And I'm like, I gotta see how it ends, though. I know this is bad, but I have to see how it ends.
Yeah.
The Void.
I with Harper, I try and go,
Void.
but it's
The
October. She goes, it's August. Knock it off.
It's Ogtober.
Ogtober.
She's actually a great sport. But what was your film?
Yeah, it was The
Void.
Void. The Void.
Have I seen
The Void.
The Void.
I did. Listen, so, and I said to
Wait a
Megan,
minute.
listen, I said to Megan earlier, I said, I know people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Because there's so many.
I just need to check that we're talking about the same movie here.
There's so much tribute being done in this
Assault
film.
on Precinct, like that's on. Wait, what? Hold on.
So The Void, it's got Lovecraftian horror
yep.
in it, and they're stuck like in that police precinct.
Yeah, and the people outside with suits with the triangles
I'm
on
like,
their faces.
what is
Okay.
happening here? What is happening? I did not enjoy
Well, I
that
guess
film.
some of us just don't get it.
Yeah, no, and that's
Clearly,
yo,
it was
when I-
hitting above your pay grade.
And I think it was. When I watched all the reviews for it, everyone's pulling out, and this was a tribute to that, and this, da 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 da.
Sure,
And it was like,
sure.
oh, cool. Cool. So it's the MCU. I needed to have seen all these other
Right,
films
right,
to enjoy
right.
The Void.
It,
Cool.
There definitely should be a subgenre of horror movies that, like, there should be a sticker, like, at the video rental store, made by nerds for nerds.
Right.
There should be
right.
a sticker that lets
Yeah.
you know what you're about to get.
Come
which
on,
is that.
bruh.
I feel like there's also now this line of horror. There's The Void, The Mist, The Happening,
Yes.
the
films.
the somethings that all they're very different stories, but
Yeah.
all have that very that like vague something ominous,
Yeah.
a presence.
Yeah.
We're not defining it. Tentacles, monsters.
Was the Black Coat's daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
all. The Black Coat's daughter?
I think it's-
Is it?
it's just-
I don't know if I have
I think it
the
is,
the
is it
front of
maybe?
it.
No?
I know,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. But like those ones that just
just throwing
have
thugs
this like
everywhere now.
vague. I do remember watching The Void, and it just was like, I don't know, didn't hit me. But now
above-
watch The
above
Hills Have
mine.
Eyes and be like, oh nope, bumped up one. Redemption.
Rudo was very upset with
I'm gonna watch it and just take pictures of myself watching it and send it to the
You'll probably,
News with My Fiance Instagram.
yeah,
right?
you'll get it. I don't know, but it wasn't.
Oh, I saw it. I loved it.
Okay,
I
okay.
dug it. I dug it a lot. I liked it.
Yeah, it just I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It just was a little
Yeah.
like, all right.
All right. So we're going to close out with recommendations. I'm going to jump right to the front of this list. I just recently finished The Outsider on HBO.
We talked about this so good.
So good. I mean, what was it? I think it's 10 episodes, 8 or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Morgan was like, this is your show. You're going to watch this show. And I'm a completist in the way that I got these other series. I got to finish these out, and we'll start some things together. She's like, you want to start this now. And I'm like, all right, okay. First episode, I said, holy shit, I need more of this now. Let's go. And we just binged through it 2-3 days. Stephen King's Outsider, absolutely amazing.
So good.
Like, so very good. And then, of course, Night Country. Night Country.
Oh, thank you for saying that. How did I forget that I watched that?
Night Country's just so good. It made me want to go back and watch the first season of True Detective.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It made
Yeah,
me
we
want-
watched Night Country, and
Yeah.
imagine the hate that they got. I didn't understand it. I was like, come on, man, don't make me roll a slow orange at you, fool.
Right. Don't let it happen to you. Don't let it happen to you.
Don't make me leave your tongue in some uncharted science.
Harper and I were
book?
actually, because we were so hard up for new episodes of Night Country, we started watching season 1, and we're watching them back and forth. Especially once you found out that Cole's dad. Anyways, I'm getting way into it.
Yeah.
No, so
That is so dope.
Night Country was the first True Detective season that Steve had watched, and
Okay.
so he didn't know what to expect. And I was like, "This is actually a very good place to start."
Yeah.
So we need to go back and watch the first season, which is thank you for that reminder because
That first
amidst
season was
us watching
stellar.
the X Files,
That
the first season was
it just had us
bonkers.
wanting more.
Yeah.
It kept bringing me back. So second season, that was the one with Vince
it Vince
Vaughn.
Vaughn?
and
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
all right.
yeah. And then the third season, I hadn't finished.
Yeah.
And when I started seeing trailers for Night Country, it felt like, okay, now we're back to form.
Yeah.
Immediately, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we're back. We're back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once you started seeing the references to Carcosa, I was like, okay, okay, all right, you got me, you got me. It's
exactly,
okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna finish this
Come
thing
on
out.
in, friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any recommendations?
Those were 2 great. Also, yes, The
Thank you.
Outsider I fucking loved. For anyone that has a really like fucked up sense of humor like myself, The Baby on HBO.
The Baby.
Have
Why do I
you
think I've
watched-
seen
have
the
you seen
trailer
The
for
Baby?
this?
It's great. Children are terrifying.
Okay.
It's funny. It's wild.
It's a movie or a series?
It's a series.
Okay.
Yeah, fully bingeable. It's a
Okay.
wild ride. I only know one other person in this town, shout out to Kempo, that has watched it and thought it was great.
Okay.
It's very funny.
Okay.
It's just very funny.
The Baby.
And for the youth out there,
Utes.
the
young
Utes,
youths.
the 2 Utes, any old Rosemary's Baby. Like I watch Rosemary's Baby and Jaws often,
Okay.
probably every like 3 times a month.
Okay.
Are always my favorite. But I think there's a lot of like young kids that haven't watched those.
Yeah.
Shows, yeah, we watched Night Country, and I'm trying to think, show-wise, I don't know, it's weird because I feel like, obviously, Fall of the House of Usher was fantastic.
God, that was
was
so
really
good.
good. Dug on that a ton.
Hooked from the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I love that a lot because I was one of those super nerds that studied way too much Poe and then put it away in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Same.
And then it was amazing how much kept bubbling to the top every episode. I was like, oh man. But obviously the top 3 that I have to say that I would recommend to anyone is people don't talk about Hot Fuzz enough.
Good call.
People don't
Yes.
talk about The Burbs enough.
The Burbs is
excellent.
amazing.
And I will touch back on another one of my favorite movies is Ravenous. The music for Ravenous will make you think that someone else is watching a different movie in the house from the movie you're watching.
Wow.
It is so
I gotta rewatch
off kilter
it now.
and doesn't match. But when I saw that in the theater, I was living in Vegas at the time. It was '99, and I remember they had a sign out front, like someone did, from a home printer. It said, "The movie Ravenous deals with cannibalism." And I said, "Wow, why'd you guys put that up there?" Because we've had so many walkouts. People are walking out of this movie,
Hot dog.
and I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'll take 2 tickets, please."
Yes, I'd like to see it twice.
Wow.
Another good movie to watch. Speaking of cannibals, is Bones and All.
Bones and all. I have not
Yeah,
seen
with-
that.
with little baby Timmy Chalamet.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
gnarly.
okay.
Bones and all.
Bones
Oh, that's
and
the
all.
finger biting movie. Did they have like a finger? I'm remembering trailers now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There was looks like it was nibbling on like kissy, lovey, huggy, nibbling on fingernails. Then it was like,
Ugh. All right, I'm in.
I think that is actually a different cannibal
Okay.
movie. That has a young girl. But that also, I saw the
Yeah.
trailer for that the other day, and it looks good. And the name is completely escaping me.
great cannibal western, Bone Tomahawk.
Oh Christ, that movie
Kurt
is amazing.
Russell.
Fucking
I
love Kurt
bought
Russell.
I bought that soundtrack on LP at Too
Gnarly.
Many Records up
Wow.
on I think Lombard.
Ooh,
It's
I'm loving
fantastic.
this.
Bone
This
Tomahawk
episode
is
is full of
fantastic.
recommendations.
Yeah. Bone
This is
Tomahawk
awesome.
is wonderful.
You
That's
mentioned
a
Poe.
gnarly movie.
Yeah, it is.
You mentioned Poe. The Pale Blue Eye. You guys see it? So good.
having a lot of
thank you.
visceral
I
reactions
watched that
right
movie,
now.
and it was a movie where I almost went and woke Harper. I was like, "Can you come out while I'll start it over? I'll watch it again."
I'll watch it over.
Oh, that movie's fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, because there's another movie happening that you didn't know about until the end of the movie.
Right.
There's a second movie
It's like,
there.
wait, this is what it is?
That movie, yeah.
Yeah, Christian Bale killed it. The whole cast.
And the kid is
Okay.
Dudley. It's Harry Potter's
Yeah.
heavy stepbrother.
Cousin, yeah,
that
stepbrother,
plays
yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. He is
Yeah.
wonderful in it.
And he looks amazing.
Yes, there's another movie that came
don't
out
think I
that
realized
is
that was it.
sorry,
Right.
now I'm on a roll.
Sorry.
There's a movie called It Was the Devil the Whole Time. And it's
that's a great.
it is so mean spirited and not happy, but it is
great
damn good.
Time.
Yeah, it's
with Robert Pattinson.
there's so many. Robert Pattinson is the gross preacher in it. Andrew
Oh.
Garfield's in it.
Okay.
It's is he the Spider-Man kid? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Spider
all these
Kid.
amazing British young actors playing like Kick a Hobo, Tennessee. I don't know what the name of the town is,
Okay.
but it's something like that. But it is
enough.
like post. It like goes from World War II and goes all the way up into like almost Vietnam. It is depressing, but man, it is passionate. It is driven. It is astounding.
And what's the name of it again?
It was the devil the whole time.
It was the devil the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, or the devil all the time.
the devil all the time,
Like,
something like that.
all the time.
Oh, wait a minute.
It was fantastic.
This sounds familiar. Morgan watched it. I caught pieces of it and was like, oh my dear God.
Yeah.
Watch, it's
Okay, so I got to watch
It's
the whole
good.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
talk about a redemption arc,
Mm-hmm.
little Robert Pattinson. Nobody even knows he was ever a vampire.
He's such a great Batman.
He was a good Batman.
Man, this was absolutely amazing. Thank you
Yeah,
guys so much for
thanks.
spending your
When's the
Thursday
next
evening with us.
Thanks for
exactly,
having me.
exactly.
We
Absolutely.
just scratched the surface. I had a list.
I love revisiting horror throughout the year at times when it isn't traditionally discussed. So like
Which
we
again
did
for me is weekly.
right, right.
During like the heat domes we have now, put on a
Yeah.
double feature of
Watch The Thing.
Carpenter's The Thing and 30 Days
Yes.
of Night, and you're like,
30
oh, so
days
you're
of
good
night.
to
Let's
go.
go.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
No
If you're
God.
thinking of going like rock or mountain climbing, watch The Crawling Eye
What?
What's
or The Trollenberg Terror.
I don't know that one.
No, The Crawling Eye. Also, if Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's
Nice.
the first episode of Mystery Science Theater. They watch The Crawling Eye.
Okay.
Practical effects. It's horrific. It's dull. It's slow. It's
The
very.
Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Yeah. It's very, I
Okay.
made Steve watch it like around Christmas, and he was just like, whatever. I love that movie. My dad, growing up, had us convinced that when the fog rolls in off the hills, the crawling eyes were going to come get you, and I had no idea what that was from.
That's
except
just
for-
science.
from that
I mean,
movie.
that's,
Facts of science.
Climate change is real.
But it's a really fun. It's a wild movie.
Okay. All right. I feel like you had something. Okay. All right.
Oh no! I was gonna comment. I just thought of another movie that really let me down. Was It's a Wonderful Knife? I love Christmas horror
That
movies.
looked like it was going to be great. I hadn't
It's
seen
the
it
only
yet.
movie Harper and I
Love it.
watched. It was the only movie that narrated itself in case you couldn't follow along. It's like characters would stop the action to tell you what's happening. Like, bro, I've been here. I've been watching it.
Wow.
The Ghoul Fiend review for that movie in our zine was, it's a movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
got me.
Yeah.
You know what surprised me? Goosebumps.
Yo, that show was good until
Yeah.
they didn't know when to stop. They
Yeah.
should have just been done with it.
Yeah,
like
that
the
most
last two
recent-
episodes
Yeah,
weren't
we
needed.
didn't- yeah.
Hey, that's what I want to start. I want to have It's a Long Summer or It's a Long Winter and just like do a month of just all the great Justin Long movies.
Yeah.
He's one of my
Oh,
favorite
come
Scream
on,
Queens.
man.
He's fantastic.
Come on. Yeah.
It's a
Goosebumps
long
surprised
dark
me.
winter.
I
It was
like,
good.
Oh.
It was.
Whoa.
And remember, at that time, there was like 5 horror television miniseries that came out
Yeah.
all at once.
Yeah.
There was that one. There was House of Usher. There was like 4 of them. I think the new not Tales from the Crypt. What's the Shudder one? Creep Show. The new
Yeah.
Creep Show
Oh,
season
okay.
had come out, which was hit or miss. It was good. The first season was fantastic, but that Goosebumps was like, whoa, wait, this is way better than it should have been.
Way better.
It was really good.
Because I was too old to enjoy, you know, Goosebumps on
Yeah,
Nickelodeon or whatever
Yeah.
it was on. Yeah, but then let me give this a try. Justin Long's in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Surprisingly. Yeah. Really good. Really good.
Yeah, when you think the show should end and you see there's still 2 more episodes, the show should end and be done with it.
Yeah.
When
You're
it
good.
feels
They should have
natural,
wrapped
just
it. You're
stop.
good. They should have wrapped it.
Noted. Noted.
Oh, man. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks,
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank
Watch
you so
some
much.
horror movies.
Hey, you're still here. That's what's up. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate every single listen we get. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on all social media. You can listen to us on the platform of your choice. We are there. And if you're so inclined, please rate the show and write a review. We appreciate all types of feedback from any of our listeners. All right, catch you on the next one. Peace.